Stirring the coffee with chopsticks, using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee. It's very early in the morning. I have the light on the back deck, as you can see right here. It's dark out. It's as dark as night. What a wonderful, glorious time to be up and get work done. Let's take a look at some things. I was so lazy once that I remember pizza being delivered to my front door. I'm sitting on the couch in my rec room watching a 55-inch flat screen TV, watching Netflix. Typical Friday night. Back when I was single and fat and lazy and didn't give a shit and discouraged, thinking I might have been depressed. The pizza delivery guy comes to the front door, rings the doorbell. I go, come on in. I said, put it down right there. He puts 2 pizzas down on the coffee table in front of me. The wings, the garlic knots, the dipping sauce, and a 2-liter Coke that I would later mix with rum. I tipped him and he went. I didn't even get off the couch. I looked like the kind of guy that would do that. That's how far I've come. Ribeye is my protein shake. Strength from meat. Am I a carnivore channel? No. Am I a pipe channel? No. I didn't even know what the YTPC was, the YouTube pipe community. Like, I don't want to be part of any community on purpose. Maybe a visiting faculty. People used to call me a beard channel. No, I was a guy growing a beard teaching people how to groom and grow a big beard. Same thing with pipes. Same thing with coffee. Same thing with meat. Same thing with working out. So it's a lifestyle channel mixed with some satire, which I'm not going to tell you when it's satire or not. And observations and blog observations about life, media, and culture. That's what I do. Most mass transit systems transport crime and deviance out of the cities into the suburbs. Wherever you have a bus or a train line, you have undesirables and trouble. Philadelphia is a perfect example. Not only does our mass transit system bring people into the city to work every day, it also brings the garbage out of the city. It brings animals and cockroaches out who aren't civil. So much crime. Wherever you see trains or buses coming out of the city and there are various stops along the way, it's proven that there's crime and deviance and trouble in those areas. Facts are stubborn things. In the same way that poop goes through pipes and ends up in a septic tank, sewer, or cesspool, cities are cesspools. Most of your societal poop ends up there. Every student of SHTF and every prepper are going to tell you that cities are the last place that you want to be in case poop ever goes down in society. SHTF. When a woman says that she likes the energy of the city, a divorced or separated woman, that only means one thing. She's trouble and she's riding the carousel. More than half of the female dating profiles near a big city will prove that. They feel like they owe it to themselves to have city life and increase their options. And the Modern dating apps on phones enable that nonsense. A woman has more access to 100 men in one day, in one 30-minute session, than she ever would going to any bar. Add the dense population of a city, nightlife, bars, clubs, lounges, and dating apps on phones, and you have a recipe for trouble and creating a future undesirable woman whose odometer has turned over several times. You don't want that. That woman has an expiration date on her attractiveness. And what happens is that the beta male that she formerly ignored years ago is going to swoop her and think that he got a real deal. That's the very same woman that would have ignored him years ago, after she went through alpha after alpha after alpha. And then the engineer, the entrepreneur, the nerd dude who got a good haircut, who saved, who was wise, who has a great job, who's not very smart when it comes to intergender relationships, will think that he scored the big one when he gets her. I know, because I used to be the guy that would spot these ladies. The offended generation. There's always been a segment of the population that's easily offended. Usually it's the people that want to normalize deviance and eliminate traditional moral and societal consequences of that deviance. It's called inversion. And it's growing exponentially. Let me tell you about societal and moral inversion. 20 years ago, well, let's just say 10 years ago, 10 to 50 years ago, the things that were once considered deviant are now normal. The things that were considered deviant, criminal, wrong, immoral, and once discouraged, shunned, and corrected, is now encouraged and rewarded. And anyone opposing that is now punished. For instance, you can't criticize people now without having... You can't criticize what 20 years ago what was once deviant. If you criticize it now, you're considered a hater. That's number one. Number two, they've criminalized your opinions about what used to be deviant. Look at Europe. Europe is becoming, if it's not already, a shithole. And they've jailed people for expressing opinions. That's inversion. In our society in the United States, things that you would never talk about are now talked about and encouraged and celebrated. Inversion. There is probably will have diabetes, high blood pressure, be on 9 daily medications, in a doctor's office twice a month, sleep like shit, have little to no sex, end up with a disease, and eventually live in a nursing home look. There is that look. Most consequences, like the ones I just mentioned, come from choices that you make. You can make the choices that make you part of that club that I just mentioned, or do something about it. And I'm not talking about things you were born with. If you're born with an affliction, there's nothing you can do about that. You have to make the best of it. But if it's something that you created because of a lifestyle, behavior, things that you overlooked, laziness, it's only on you. Don't expect society to bail you out. or a doctor or a medication. Most medications are just bailout things. They're not true solutions. They're symptom fighters, but they don't get to the root problem. I was on high blood pressure medication. I was on diabetes medication. Treating symptoms, not the root cause. Some have said an older man can get a younger woman with charm. I agree with that. I've heard people talk about that. But charm is not enough to keep her. What do you say about that? What are your thoughts about that? Personally, I'm not a guy that chases younger women. I know guys my age who are single, who are on dating sites, and here I am almost 60 years old, closer to 60 than 50. And I know guys that say, oh, I would never chase a woman that's over 40. I'm like, what? Like 20 years younger? For real? Do you have anything in common with her? And I know your mileage may vary, and I'm not being judgmental, but I'm just saying, for the most part, your best bet is up here, someone within 5 years, I think 5 to 7 years, that's just my opinion, and someone who respects you. That's all. Feels protected, safe, and someone who admires you. You don't need a woman who worships you. There's a difference between a woman admiring you and respecting you and a woman worshiping you. You don't need that. There's something pathological with you if that's what you need. Don't seek that out. That's not partnership. That's not companionship. You already have a mommy. You don't need another one. And you don't need adoring fans. You need a woman that respects you and admires you, and vice versa. That door does swing in both directions. But you don't put her on a pedestal. Because if she is your reason to live, and I've said this before, if she is your reason to live, when she's gone, you won't have a reason to live. And many divorced guys are proof of that, and the discouragement and the quote-unquote depression that they suffer. Let me just speak for a second. If you're depressed, stop using the word depression. You're probably discouraged. You have been taught to think that you have a chemical imbalance. You don't. You need courage, not medication. That is why I like encouraging people. Encouragement is the cure for discouragement. So rather than always say I'm depressed, or when I was depressed, it was discouragement. When you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, it's not depression, it's discouragement. When you change your language, your life follows the words that you use. So I would rather hear you talk about your depression as discouragement. And that leads me to another thing. There's no such thing as your depression. Oh, it's my depression, my diabetes, my high blood pressure, my cancer. Stop taking ownership of pathology. Stop it. You don't own cancer. You don't own diabetes. You don't own obesity. You don't own depression. Stop it. No wonder you stay depressed, discouraged, fat, unhealthy. You're owning it. If I come up to you and try to take your jacket from you, you can't do that. That's my jacket. You fight for what's yours, right? Why are you fighting for your depression, for your diabetes? Why are you fighting for your obesity? It's not your problem. It's a consequence of your behavior and your thoughts. You have control over it. Like I said, if you're born with an affliction, there's nothing you can do about that. You make the best of it. Next topic. I asked people, what is their favorite AI film? And I gave a choice. 241 people voted. 44% said Ex Machina, 0% said Uncanny, 7% said Stepford Wives, 49% said Blade Runner. So it looks like Blade Runner is the winner. But I don't believe anyone, no one even mentioned the movie Uncanny. I don't even know if it's on Netflix anymore. Look it up, Uncanny. I think it's one of the finest creepy, cringy AI films ever. Low budget, but you'll love it. Ex Machina was unbelievable, I thought. The people that don't like Ex Machina don't like quiet in films. I like movies that have periods of silence in them. They thrill the crap out of me. I don't need I don't need the... Is it Michael Bay, the guy that did Transformers? I don't need explosions and CGI. I'm actually kind of sick of CGI, of special effects. Can we get back to like Ray Harryhausen and stop motion photography? Stop motion, dinosaurs and King Kong and bending the armature a 1/16 of an inch at a time? Can we get back to like when I see just a CGI, like when I watch a movie trailer and I see nothing but CGI, I'm just like, oh, come on. It just has no interest. FBI Special Agent in charge, Ren Cannon, says the FBI did not intend to designate the Proud Boys as an extremist group during a recent briefing of Clark County law enforcement, but tried to characterize the potential for violence from individuals within that group. Every group has a potential for violence. Every group. Some just are lightning rods. Every group attracts some assholes that end up giving a bad name to a group. I was asked, who is your healthcare provider? My answer, me. I am my healthcare provider. Nobody else is responsible for me. How I look now, or how I ever looked, was my responsibility. My lab work, my responsibility. Changing anything I don't like about myself, my responsibility. Don't like how you look in a bathing suit, your responsibility. Male or female, I'm too fat to wear a bikini. I'm too fat, I don't look good in a bathing suit. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to take ownership of your body the way it is. Take responsibility for what you look like and change it. Period. Some people have more of an uphill battle than others. Granted, I know that. So I lose weight and get in shape rather quickly. Some people it takes years. And I get that. And I allow for that. That's fine. And I do believe that men can snap into shape better than women, quicker. That's one of the benefits of being male. One of the many benefits of being a man is that we can snap ourselves into shape pretty darn quick. Women, not so much. But still not an excuse. And then let's take a look at an essay that I wrote called The Least Scumbaggiest of the Scumbags. I love watching TV. I was a big fan of The Sopranos, a big fan of Brotherhood. I really enjoyed Dexter. True Blood was different and fun. And I really enjoyed The Wire. If you saw those, you know what I'm talking about. I used to be a Travel Channel, Food Channel, HGTV, Sci-Fi, History, and National Geographic Channel guy. And then I used to get hooked on various shows and start binge watching things. And prior to the days of on-demand movies, on-demand shows, you would actually get DVDs in the mail, believe it or not, and rent them. But when I step back and I look at the shows that I just mentioned, there's not one truly righteous character in the show. Not one. They're all monsters, mobsters, thieves, con men, serial killers, manipulators, freaks, druggies, alcoholics, and shady characters. Everyone is on the take or taking somebody. Everybody is in someone else's back pocket, kind of like our judicial system and political system. Everybody has something on someone. Nevertheless, I have enjoyed the shows, but the observation is that all the characters are bad people. Even the ones that I like are bad people. When I watched the show Dexter, it's about a serial killer. I liked him. And when I step back, I'm thinking like, holy crap, I like a serial killer. Like, what the heck? I was liking people that I wouldn't want my own children associating with. So what I do in my mind is rationalize which one is the best, or the least bad, the lesser evil. So I was watching The Wire. You remember The Wire? Second season, my favorite character was a guy named McNulty. He's getting served divorce papers by his estranged wife. I really felt bad for him. But in past episodes, he was the biggest skirt chaser, briber, scumbag, and one of the most dishonest cops in the cast of characters. And he was the nicest one in the bunch of characters. In The Sopranos, I really liked Vito. Vito ended up dying a really humiliating, terrible death. I felt bad for its character, but for several reasons. Vito had probably whacked more people than anybody else. But I felt bad for him when he died. There seems to be a new formula in TV and movie entertainment. There used to be a clear good guy and a clear bad guy. Movies were fantastic. One of the reasons why I love traditional monster movies is it's about good overcoming evil. Now it's about everyone being evil and the least evil overcoming the most evil. But there's no one good. Good versus evil used to be a fantastic concept in movie and television scripts. The template's been trashed. Now it's bad versus bad, or the least bad, or the lesser of two evils. Even on TV today, the heroes are bad guys. It's not good versus bad, it's bad versus really bad. It's not that the lines are blurred, it's that the roles are totally flip-flopped. Inversion. Good is bad, bad is good. So I find myself rooting for a bad guy or the least scumbaggiest of the scumbags. Have you noticed that too? And with that, get out there and kill your to-do list. The sun is just starting to come up right now. Just starting. I started when it was pitch black. The lights that you see on my back deck, that gate right here, that gate, that's from the light on my back deck. So the sun isn't even up, but I can just see the sky getting lighter right now. Listen, I want the best for you. I want you to live a most excellent life. And what that means is you being the best version of yourself. Hanging out with people that are going to do you well. Hanging out with people who are going to encourage you. Get you to the gym. Get you eating better, thinking better, making better choices. Most of the crap that's in your life is because of choices you've made. It's time to start making good choices. And with that, enjoy the rest of your coffee, and I'll see you tomorrow.